we're still historically low. It's how fast it went up. It's how fast it went up. Rates went up 2-3% within a year. That's quick. The rate hike, how the speediness of it, that's what people feel. That's what people felt. When it gradually goes up, but because it shot up, and if you're in the market, think about it. If you're in the market saying, yeah, we're going to buy in 6 months, and you were looking at a 3.5% interest rate, and now you're ready to buy and it's 6%. I mean, that's a huge jump in payment, right? So so you got to take that into perspective. However, how you combat that though is you make sure you find out you're never going to sell them on buying a house at this rate when they've just experienced what could have been, right? You have to take them back to the emotional side of it. I think Gary said you got to take them back to what was their motivation for buying anyway. Most people buy because they want, better for their kids. They want to own a property. You have to go back to what that reason is. Like, you can show them rent's not going down either. So you show them that and just take them back to the emotional attachment that they had for getting ready to make that decision. So I would definitely be printing that out if I was y'all. You can find this in KW Connect. I can make sure Casey or Julia sends it out. But you definitely want to keep that one because that typically checks almost everybody. Yeah. Okay. And then all right, so we go to the next one.
So I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Do you think, well, I'm pretty sure this will help as well too. I don't know if you've heard that FHA is supposed to be extending from 30-year to 40-year mortgages within the next month or two.
Fake news. Thank you. Yes. Fake news. It's so funny. But that's the headline though. No, I'm gonna tell you, it's only for mods. If someone gets behind on their payments or whatever, and they call their bank and they have an FHA loan, they can transition to a 40-year because naturally if 10 more years tacked on, the rate's gonna be, the payment's gonna be a little less so that they can afford it. That's only on mods, but see, what is the modification of the loan? I'm sorry. So if you're already in a loan and they're gonna modify it for you so that you can stay in the house, then that's when they can tack on, like put you into a 40-year mortgage. But you see how Ruthie, she's not the only one. A lot of people thought that FHA was coming out with this new product of a 40-year loan, which they did, but there's qualifications for you to get into. It's not for new home buyers, right? Rashad, so you see, Rashad been reading his publications. Nah, but seriously, that's a great question though, Ruthie. A lot of agents, I'm gonna have to bring that up at team meeting. So, and I promise we're gonna get to listeners, guys. I just want y'all to have perspective of what's going on. We can't see this stuff enough. So speed plus scale equals disruption. So refinance volume has dropped 87%. There was a lot of mortgage people out here getting fat over the last few years, right? Because we saw mortgages go from 5% down to 2%, right? And where they say like every point you need to be refinancing, if you can get some people do it for a half a point if they're gonna be in the house for a little while. So they ate really good off of refinances. So 87% drop in those. Purchase APP volume, 38% drop. 76% of mortgage companies lost money in the fourth quarter of last year. 36% of their workforce has been reduced. So why is that important? When you're dealing with your buyers, or if you have a listing that's going, it's important to know who's on the other side of that transaction, who's representing that buyer, right? And it's important for you to know who is the company that your buyer is going through, because 36% workforce reduction. Where do you think they're not getting rid of loan officers? Who are they cutting first? Back office. They working on skeleton crews, right? So less people ordering your appraisal quick, right? Less people underwriting your stuff. Oh, you got to get back to the back of the line. I got to do these, and then I'll get back to you. And that causes delays in your closing. It'll still get done, but if you want to lose credibility with a client, don't close on time. Whether it was your fault or not. Think if you got a seller, because we're talking about sellers today in a minute. If you have a seller and the buyer, they have to call you and say, hey, we can't close today, we can close Friday. Well, the seller has already moved, they got their stuff, like they're wanting their money. God forbid they got another house to buy, one from the proceeds. Right, it gets nasty. But so be aware of that. That's all this is for. It's just for your awareness that, look, that back office might not be strong. Know who you're dealing with. Ask questions from those companies. You can actually look them up. You know, ask questions and look those companies up so that you know that you know, you're not getting your client in a situation that may have them you know, closing, not closing on time or whatever. Best operators grow market share. So right now it's funny because our lender, Serena and them came, you know, right kind of when we were still in the shift and starting to go back up a little bit, but it definitely was still doing the shift in time. And look at her now. I remember she came in here, she was barely closing loans. She actually just got back into the loans. And she rode that wave though. She put in the work. And now look at her. She's going up to President's Club every year, all of that, because she gained market share. So if you get with a good company, like if you got a good loan officer there with a good company, ride it out with them because they're going to be able to go to fight for you. And I guarantee you that's where she learned a lot of her biggest tactics to get things done on y'all behalf was because she rode that wave. And you could do that too right now in your business. If you're sharing information like the few slides that we just went through and you're standing in front of your people, guess what? They're going to ride with you and you're going to be able to ride that wave up. So, all right, we go to the next slide. I talked about mortgage hacks the last few weeks in team meeting. You definitely want to, and this QR code is live, so you can grab that stuff and you can go to the mortgage hacks playbook and kind of see it. I'm actually doing a class on it in a week or so. I can't think, it's on the calendar, but I'm doing a mortgage hacks class. That's important too. When is it? The 18th. The 18th, so next week. So we can go past this since I'll be doing that class. All right, so takeaways before we get into what you can be doing with your sellers right now to decrease days on market. I want you to think about how knowledgeable are you right now with sharing this type of information with your clients. You don't have to answer it, but I want you to think about that. Find something that you can share with your clients, and you know that's a headline that comes from us or KWRI or some other positive real estate source. You know, how do you? And then even when you see the negative headlines, share that and share your perspective on those headlines or why. Right? Remember when the banks failed? Last month or so, the SVB, and I was saying Silicon Valley or whatever, and we dove into why they failed. Most of you guys didn't know that the average person in that bank with a deposit was at like 500 million or above, right? And how much do the FDIC insure? 250,000. You got 500,000 sitting in the bank and you hear a little whisper that they may be in trouble, you going to get your money too. They call that a run on the bank. So everybody rushed at one time to pull their money out. Well, I'll tell you right now, if you got 100,000 in Bank of America up the street, only they've invested 90,000 of that. They bought short-term bonds because they don't expect you to come and pull your money right back out in a year. A short-term bond is like a year. So they know if Hank put 100,000 in here, I'm gonna use 90 of his 100, and we're gonna go buy bonds and make money on it. That's how banks make money. So when someone heard it, because Silicon Valley is full of what? IT people, right? IT was booming over the last few years. Hedge funds, people, they was giving them billions of dollars. So they had all this money and they was putting it in that bank to start tech companies and do all of that. Well, when the tech industry, the economy being what it is right now, things starting to slow down, tech companies needing that money to invest and reinvent and do some different things so that they can make money, so the business can make money, right, for their business. And they go in and get their money out. But guess what? The bank had already bought bonds with it. You see what I'm saying? And somehow the word got out. So now everybody going and grab their money. The average person don't know all of that. So they think the economy is collapsing and this and that. And then you got China and them doing their thing over there. They're like, man, the dollar's not gonna, you gotta debunk some of that stuff, right? From perspective. So you don't have to be the expert, you just have to know where to go get the information and point them to it. All right. I share this a lot. I used to anyway. If I want to, and I love eating, John can see, I love go eat and all that. But there's an agent, she used to be here in this office, she's in a different office now, but she's real good about posting new restaurants, cooler outdoor places, all of that, right? I promise you, when I want to go somewhere new, I don't Google it, I don't do it, I go to her page. She's the information person to me for that. Ruthie, I go to your page to find out a little bit about Airbnbs and stuff, like decorating, definitely. I ain't gonna lie, I go to your page. Yeah, sure. So if you're in real estate, why shouldn't your database and people that's on your social media and all that, why shouldn't you be the first stop for them if they want to get some information? You should be. You should be. You should be sharing stuff because they should be coming to you to at least see if you're talking about it, to fact check it or whatever. And if they don't see it that day, if I go to, I'll tell y'all who she is. Her name Carmel Joseph. If I go to Carmel's page and she hadn't posted a new restaurant and I'm like, it's Saturday, I'm like about to walk out the door and I need somewhere, I'm like somewhere new, I'll text her. Say, come and see it. I'm trying to, where we need to go. Oh, Terrell, LOA is right around the corner. Like, she'll tell me somewhere cool to go. I mean, so be that person. And it doesn't have to be all real estate because she's in real estate. And I don't go to her for real estate, but I go to her for the little hip social stuff, right? And good food. So be that silo for somebody. But anyway, how much are you sharing this stuff? So how you let them know if you're doing newsletters, and there's electronic newsletters now. It's not like the old stuff. Social media, videos, flyers, whatever you're doing to put out there to your database. How are you doing it? How often are you doing it? And what are you doing? This is that time, guys. This is the time for that. And then how can you add this to your current 36 touch plan? Just replace something with it or just add it to it. You can do more than 36 touches. Next one. And then as far as perspective goes, most people overestimate what they can achieve in a year and underestimate what they can achieve in the next 3 years if they don't focus, just by not focusing on it. If you create small habits, you could be anywhere you want to be in the next 3 to 5 years. Anywhere. Rodney, how long did you say you was giving your wife to retire her to get into this business? What was the plan? When you first came up with that idea, like how long ago was that?
2021.
Right, exactly, exactly. His goal was he was new in this business. The goal was to create a business that he can retire his wife and pay her a year's worth of salary to join forces with him. 2021 is 2023. He did that in 2 years. And she didn't have a small salary. What you focus on, what you focus on. But me, when I was Rodney's age and married, I was like, man, I gotta retire my wife in 6 months or a year. It never happened. It never happened because my expectation was to try to do it in such a short time instead of putting in the steps to make it happen, right? To where I don't get burnt out, I don't feel deflated, right? Give yourself time, right? So this year is all about that. It's not about settling. Like he didn't settle, he made crazy money and put money to the side, but he created habits because his goal was a little further out there. And some people say do 5 years or whatever. To me, 5 years just seem kind of long because after a year, if I'm not really on track, I'm like, well, I got 5 years and I kind of put it to the back burner. 3 years is it. Like to me, it's a sweet spot. It's a sweet spot. So didn't even know that math that it was within 2 or 3 years, but it was. Knew it probably was close though because you haven't been here that long. So let's get into how do we get our listings? So in that little piece I just did, guys, probably almost before every class, I'm going to do some type of version of that because it's so important. That's what I just did is the piece that you need to know that a lot of your counterparts and stuff are not going to be sharing with the public. They're going to be running around in the market with their clients as opposed to educating their clients. It's uncertainty. You got to know it before you can give perspective to your client base. All right. And it's all perspective because prices are still going, the sales are still, we're going to see a dip, of course, in units, but that doesn't mean your business have to dip. So I want to start off by saying, when you take a listing nowadays, it used to be speed to the market, right? Like get it out there really quick. Now you have to take your time. You have to be patient. If you've already won the listing that they're going to list with you, y'all recording this stuff. Nah, if you, I'm gonna say it anyway. I don't care. I'll ask for forgiveness. But no, when you've already won the listing, get that listing agreement signed. If they don't have something done yet, just what they got to get it done. Like you cannot go to market with them needing something done. I'm telling you, it's not that market, right? So that's the first thing. I know someone like, I don't have the money right now. That's why I got this up here. It's called Curbio, right? We got some with Keller Williams too, right?
I've had some people
Keller Concierge. Yeah, Rob has too. Rob has done it too. So Keller has it. I know Curbio is one of the most popular ones right now. And then there's local guys that'll do it. Rodney got a whole team. No, I'm just kidding. Rodney got a lot of people that'll do something for you.
I got to play. I can go to my back pocket, but if you come holler at me, you need it, then I can hook you up. But I got some people that will do the work and let you pay. So
absolutely.
Gotta be realistic.
Yep, most of
but they'll let you do it.
Right. So and there's a lot of people out there like that right now. I mean, they understand the market too. I shouldn't say a lot, but there's right. Yeah, they're expensive, but they basically they're giving you a loan.
Yeah.
So find that person. I'm not selling Curbio up here, but just find somewhere, just have that as an option. Your client might not go for it. They may be like, nah, I ain't doing that. I'm just going to do it myself. That's fine. But you have to have this tool in your toolbox, some type of tool, or you open with getting the work done and we pay them at closing. Heck yeah. Some are going to say that. Some of them are like, no, I'll just wait and do it. And we'll get it on the market. So curb appeal, the inside work, you have to do that. This next one, we were big, we didn't list the house without doing this back in the day. No, that wasn't it. Go on, staging. When I was in the, we staged everything. Christina, no, she was in the market. We staged everything, like seriously.
It wasn't even like question.
It wasn't, it was not a question. We're getting back to that market, guys. And a lot of times we think of staging as somebody got to come out, all this furniture, all of that. No, be thinking of that before they move. Most people, when they move, if they're selling a house and they're moving out of it, they're not taking all that furniture anyway, right? Leave a few pieces. Leave some, tell them leave a few pieces. If they are, then you got to find a staging because they just got to pay, right? Staging also doesn't mean where there's nothing in the house, right? And you got to bring in all the furniture or leave some furniture behind. It also means if they're still living in the house, stage it. Just because they're living there and they got stuff up everywhere, it's not staged to sell, right? It's staged where they're living in it. All them pictures and stuff, imperative. They have to come down now, right? Less is more. They got to put some stuff up. Like all this stuff y'all think look good. Some of it's you gotta have that conversation. No, seriously, you're not saying it like this, but you have to have that conversation. If you want to decrease days on market, you have to have. Will it sell the way that it is? Absolutely. Probably will even hold its price. But you're tacking on 20, 30 days or so unnecessarily. So that's how you decrease. You do the work, right? Get it right. You stage it. Now we can go back one. And then this is huge right now. Open houses. Open houses for two reasons. One, yeah, she said she'll do it. One, when you're doing an open house on your listing, you're garnishing feedback and you're getting information. The best way, because markets are different. Like I was on a call and it's a top agent. She had a listing in East Atlanta, Marietta, like Cobb Vinings area, so Cobb County, let's say that. And I want to say Gwinnett. But they were all around that high 300-400. And the one in Cobb, multiple offers within 3 days, like 80 showings, all of that. And they always, nice, gone. The one in East Lake, pretty much same thing, gone. The one in Gwinnett, hardly no showings. And all of them were nice. It's just markets are a little different. So you have to understand that. So how you know and how you garnish what the market is, how the market is talking to you around your listing, you have to do an open house. And you have to get people there, right? We got Rashonda coming in on the 9th, is it the 18th or 19th? The 19th. And she averages anywhere from 50, 60 people, bless you, coming through her open houses. That's the information you want that you could take back to your sellers to either let them know you're doing everything right and it's just a matter of time, or these are the adjustments that we need to make based on the feedback, right? In order to do that, you have to set up the right systems for your open house. See, we don't see the value in open houses a lot of time because we don't have the right system set up, the right follow-up system. We're not asking the right questions. We're not making it easy and making sure that the consumers that come through there use the system properly, right? What if you had a QR code that they scan right when they come in, and as they walking through, it's hitting them. Or on their way out, hey, scan this right quick. Can you knock this out? In simple few questions that you want to know the answers to, right? And now you have all that data. Now, as a seller, when I'm reaching out to you on Monday because days on market is long, I can sit down with you and share those sheets with you Hey, this is what this one said, this is what this one said, this is reoccurring, right? So you can give that feedback so that it changes that seller's perspective. And if, when you guys are working together, then both of y'all want it sold, that's gonna decrease days on market too. Right? You want your sellers to work with you. A lot of times they feel like, oh, you got my listing, you sell it. Well, we gotta work together. We have to work together. So open houses, don't discount those. Done right, they can be valuable. They can be valuable. So that's the first thing, is value to your sellers so that they get on the same page and work with you. The second thing is, you have this listing, days on market are increasing, it's gonna sell, but while it sells, wouldn't it be cool to catch some buyers off of it? Christina, back in our day, we would close how many buyers off of a listing? Average.
At least 3 to 4 transactions per listing.
I was thinking 3. 100%. 100%. We would close, and that's why I'm saying we're getting back to a skills-based market. So guess what? That's coming back. Before we didn't have a listing long enough to get nothing off of it. So I'm saying, learn that now when you get a listing, don't just stick a sign in the yard and wait for the MLS to sell it. There's different things you can do, especially open houses being the main one, that you can do where you can market that listing in terms where you get buyers off of it. That kind of helps fill that gap at that time. It's kind of cool when you're like, oh, I hope it don't never sell. I got another buyer off of it. But if you have the seller on board with you of what the market is doing, they cool too. They cool, you cool. Like, yeah, I'm balling. Like, and they're like, yeah, and then it sells and they're happy. You see what I'm saying? But you've already set the expectation that it ain't selling like that. So they already know. So don't discount open houses if they're done right. If you have never really done them, or if you've done them in the ladder, like I just said, you stick a sign, you can see who's coming, then you might want to come to Rose class on the 19th, because she's going to give you her system, like 100%. She does a lot, so strap up, but I mean, it's worth it, 50, 60 people. I mean, that's a lot of opportunity there. All right, so questions, comments, concerns, anything that you came in the room wanting to know, you know, in regards to how to get your listing sold faster. Does it, anything that you came in the room wanting to know to get your listings sold faster? Because the class was decreasing days on market, but I started with perspective first, and then, to be honest, the real thing is curb appeal, getting it done, knowing the local market, you know, getting feedback, right? Broker opens, we haven't seen those in a while. Might need to bring those broker caravans back. We used to do them on Tuesdays, where we get in the car or people and go visit. If you got a new listing, people came through. That's another way to garner a lot of feedback. Broker opens, start back doing those, so you have the information to share with your clients. Yeah.
So yeah, for me, yeah, my lesson that's in question that I really want to be in this class for, it's almost a month on the market, and I feel like I need to go back and do all of that stuff. Like,
Absolutely.
talk to you, Ronnie, after the class. How much, I guess, has it hurt me if you list too quickly without doing that and have to go back and, you know, rework?
It could be
Can you
months.
redeem yourself?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, because it's a product, and there's a need for the product. You just have to wait for the right person to come and get it, you know. So with it being that way, as opposed to attracting someone, you see what I'm saying? So, but yeah, it could cost you months, and it could cost them tens of thousands of dollars when you do it sooner. But that's why, you know how we say we're in a shifting market? we just came from a market 6-8 months ago where that house has been gone by now. So it's understandable, and that's why you're in this class. So next one, you ain't gonna do that. Like you gotta be ready. So it's okay. That's why we're talking about this. If the market didn't shift, we wouldn't be having this discussion. We're having a discussion because of it. So it's never too late. You can even pull it off the market and re-put it back, once they're done. Get a new listing number, all of that.
That's what I'm thinking about doing. And at what point, I don't know if you covered this, do you decide you need to do a price reduction? Especially if they don't wanna, do all of the work to get it up to listing.
Yep, as soon as possible. If you're talking the reduction, if you feel like it's overpriced for the condition, then you have to go ahead and get, put it at the price that it needs
How
to
much
be.
is too much of a red flag to those are looking, it's all, okay, you listed this price, but you dropped it. like
Yeah,
$50.
It's not, it's for the condition, because if it's a good deal, it's a good deal. And we call that chasing the market. So that's why I'm saying that conversation should have been held on the beginning, but you're in a situation now. You probably need to pull it, let them do whatever they need to do, then put it back on. And just say, hey, it came back on under a new price. Like, somebody might see it different if they look at it that way. Hold on, Cheryl, then Rodney, then
Can you just
T.
share what the challenge was? Or what her challenge was with the listing?
It sounds to me, she said, Cody, she was asking what was the challenge with your list. I think it was priced at market, but the conditions didn't.
Yeah, I think just to be honest, when I was so excited to get the listing, so he was doing a lot of talking with the house when it was dark, and I just felt like I needed somebody to go in there and clean it. They finally got there to clean it, and then I went by there yesterday and I'm seeing all this other stuff, this work that needs to be done. Or we need to reduce the price. So just for me, I guess, not taking the time to look at everything, just being more excited about getting the listing and putting it out there, because I really just priced it based on the comps. Like the comps were probably.
That's what I just said.
They probably had new floors, good paint job, carpet clean, it's not like a whole lot of work, but I know people went in the house and was like, and they turn back around.
Yeah, they're like, I don't see it. However, and that's what I'm saying. It's priced right. This is how you would know if priced. You wouldn't get no showings. If it was priced out of the market, you would get no showings for that house in that market at that price, because the agent gonna be like, they off their rocker. They're not even gonna send it to their client, right? Or if it come up, like most people are looking for a house in an area that's within a certain price range, right? So that's what. So it's not priced for the overpriced for the market. It's overpriced for the condition.
Absolutely.
I have a question. I'm sorry, did I skip?
Yeah, T, did you have your hand up?
Yeah,
A minute ago?
I'm just trying to figure out, because I have a listing that is, so it's staged, they don't have no work that needs to be done, and it's right across the street from one that sold at $299. The only thing we haven't done is open houses. So they have Airbnb people in there on the weekends. So
Gotcha.
okay, well, maybe I should do an open house during the week.
Right.
Um,
Or at least a broker open.
and
Just
it's a
promote.
3-2 in Atlanta that's listed at $290. Right, but it's not, I'm getting a lot of investor creative financing, seller financing interest, like a lot of calls about that. And I don't know how to shift like the audience. I think that's what I'm trying to figure out, how to shift the audience from creative financing, seller financing interest.
I mean,
This
without
is listed for like 30 days.
right. And what I would say and challenge, how, I don't know if you remember how to do this yet, but I'll show you. We go out when we're done. But how to look at what's the average days on market for that area.
Yeah, it's like 44. So I did tell them that, and they're okay. But
Okay.
I'm just like,
Yeah.
the creative financing, selling.
Like, why is that coming?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know the exact area. I know you said Atlanta, but it sounds like it's what I said a little bit ago, where you got the investors fighting with the first-time home buyers right now. So first-time home buyers, like they're, that could be their price point in that area, right? Because there's nothing new. Yours look really nice. They really want to be there. It may be a little bit out of their price range. However, they want to figure out how can they get in there. Why? Like there is different strategies for pricing, to get them in there. That's why I think you should have an open house. So if a buyer did come without an agent, you can dive deep with that buyer and see like, okay, what options are out there for them, creative. Because you do have to be, there's three, creative financing isn't all on the seller. Creative financing is the buyer. There's ways the buyer can find creative financing. There's ways seller can contribute, and there's ways a lender can contribute. You see what I'm saying? So there's three different, I think it's Shift Tactic 10. They have a chart of what each role of each person can do. Because if all three of them are working a little bit together, that could be your buyer too. You see? So, and that's where when we're talking about buyer options, seller options, creative financing, that's kind of the market we're going back to because everything's shifting. It's kind of fast. We had to do so much creative financing, didn't we, Christina, back in the day? It was like almost every deal was that. And not just in the tank market. This is just like real estate. This is like a normal market. We had to know that stuff. We had to do it. Like, if not know it, like know what options and throw it out there. It wasn't nowhere near, like I said, the last few years, the COVID years, where I call them, everybody just threw money at everything because it was flowing. That's not normal. It wasn't normal. But yeah.
And so I have a question, then I wanted to add just a little something to your scenario. But so price improvements, where would you say is the range plus or minus that you should look to do price improvements to change the audience, right? To maybe change to a different, because if people are looking at a $200,000 house, they'll look maybe up to 210 and from one, you know what I mean? like where do you think that number, what's the sweet spot there?
Depending on price, so just taking that example, 200,000, 195, 197.5 or something like that.
Is that the same $200,000 buyer though? Like if you're doing a price improvement and you want to get new eyes,
right?
But I don't want to get the person who was looking for 200,000 that may not have considered me. I want to get somebody who maybe was looking at, I don't know, 170, but they'll consider me now that I'm at, 180. Do you know what I mean? Like where should it be like in terms of?
I would that's a seller's, like, I don't think there's a magic, percent or magic, 10,000 less, 10,000 more. I think that's more on what's the seller's positioning, and I'm always going to say, go as low, like sellers will say this, let's list at 190, but I'll take 180. Then we need to list at 180, period. Like if you'll take 180, because if you could get 190 and you're listed at 180, we'll get close to it because you're going to have a bidding war. People are going to see that it's a great deal. So I would always look at them. Now, if they're just strapped for cash and you're like, look, we got to lower it. That's my mindset of the question. I would just take it like $5,000 at that price. Now, if we're talking 400,000, I could take it 10 or 15,000 less. You see, but that's when I would dig in and see how much equity, that they're working with and what are their expectations. And typically, they're always going to give you a number higher as far as the list price than what they'll actually take. I would bring them back to that reality. If we didn't have that conversation up front and we're forced to have it, then I would say, like, what is your bottom line? And then take them there or a little bit below it, because it'll be a bidding war and you can get it. I've always been a fan of pricing lower than the market and letting the price drive itself up.
Right.
Because if you're lower, people are going to get inside. And then they're going to, you know that old saying, how many times y'all put in an offer and say, oh, we got multiple offers, highest and best. And then you're going to get that bump you need to get your seller where they need to be. Simple as that. Rodney.
The two things, one, when it came to what I found really helpful when it came to price reductions with clients is using the info sparks and the market stats. And in my listing appointment, going to the how many days, how many showings to a pending and the cumulative days on market, and that exact number. Talking about if we don't have an offer by this exact day, if it says 19 days, then that 19th day, we're making that change and we're going to the price that we talked about that we were gonna make it to. And then as far as price goes, Jerry Rose said something I wasn't thinking about recently, and it made sense though. You know, before when I'm looking for a house for a client, if you can only afford, you know, $180,000, I'm not looking at anything over $180,000, right? But now when I'm looking for a buyer, if your budget is $180,000, I'm gonna look up to $195,000 because I know I can get it for you a little cheaper. So I'm making a price reduction. I had a house and I was talking to her about the price reduction, and it was, let's say it was like $415,000. I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna drop it to like $410. And she's like, the same people who were looking at 410 was looking at that house because of where it's at now. So dropping it $5,000 at that price, I'm not appealing to nobody new. I'm not doing nothing. I gotta go to a whole different category
Right.
to be able to appeal to those people, because we all know in this market, you can get $10,000 less than the asking price. So dropping $10,000 less, you're not opening it to nobody new. And think of it from a agent working with the buyer, you think of it in that same aspect, you know? So you wanna drop it to that next line where people might not be looking because they think it's not possible, right? 15, 20,000, you're not thinking that you're gonna go, you know, you're not looking for 15, 20,000 over for a house for your client. It's not really realistic.
That help?
Yeah.
Good, that's the one, all right. So last couple of things, so offering in a warranty to the buyer, you know, you can put a warranty on the house when you list it, right? And it don't cost them until closing. So letting buyers know that there's already a warranty that's on the house that will transfer to the buyer, right? Because a lot of buyers in this market too, because inflation, they think if I get in this house, something goes wrong, I ain't gonna be able to fix it. And then always offering at least half the commission. Gone are the days where we were giving 2%, where like if the sellers talk us into listing for 5%, we take 3 and we're giving 2. That's gone. You're gonna do your seller a disservice. So you might as well have that fight with them up front and say, look, the other agent is gonna definitely be expecting 3%. I'm gonna work hard, so I deserve 3%. I can't do it for 5. Like, have that conversation up front, unless you're willing to take 2. And I wouldn't in this market, like, you know, unless I just absolutely had to, unless they were buying something, you know, also from me. And then making sure that you get your listing in front of agents who you've co-opted with before, or agents in this market center. This isn't the time that our Facebook page should be lighting up with each other's listings. Put it out there. I can't tell you how many times I've seen someone walk in and look on that board, make a phone call. Oh, Rodney, you have this listing? What's going on? How's your buyer? Because you two can talk. Because then Rodney can tell you, yeah, you make a strong offer, you know, they might be willing to come down 15,000. I can't disclose that. However, they may be willing, just put it in. Because he knows, I mean, like, right.
Yeah.
So co-oping with known agents, because it's gonna take that. It's gonna take you guys working together to get it closed. Also, when you do get offers from agents, even if they come in and they look ridiculous, call that agent and talk through it and see if you can kind of educate them a little bit, and then y'all can come to a meeting of the minds. So every offer, every showing, all of that is critical. It all plays a part with decreasing days on market. So, you gotta follow up on all of that. And then I already mentioned open houses, but if you can't do open houses, let somebody else do it for you. Just give them the tools. Give them, because you know what you want, the data. You want the data back to give feedback, right? Give them the tools and equip them where they capture that data, right? Let them know how important it is that you want to know everyone that came in, and you want everyone that came in to do the quick, 3-4 question questionnaire so that you can give feedback. That's your win from someone else. Their win is that they get a buyer off of it. Your win is the data, the information to give people. If you're not doing it yourself, you want buyers off of it, do it yourself. All right. I hope this was helpful. I know it's not a magic bullet, but there is no magic bullet. It's just creating the habits and doing what you need to do. Yeah, Rob.
Something that been helping me with my commission lately and getting my full commission is I used to like get a lot of discount commission all the time. But that whole script of like if I negotiate my commission down this and that never really worked for me.
Right.
What's really worked for me now on getting my full commission is I'm telling them about the services that I offer. So like I'll do something little, like I have my landscaper come through and that might cost me $150 or something. Or I have my cleaning person come through. Or I might do both. Where that, let's just say that cost me $500. $500 compared to 1% of my commission is a bigger difference. But offering that service has been able to be like, oh yeah, of course, here, take that full commission. And also letting them know if there is a point in this deal where it gets really tight, then without me having a full commission, there's nothing I can do on my end. Like if somebody's asking for a home warranty, right? And that only cost me $400 or $500, I can go ahead and cover that. But if I don't have my full commission, I can't do nothing like that for you. And so I also use that as a piece, like in case we ever get in a jam and I need to do something and it's only a few $1,000s, I'm the type of agent that's gonna handle that, so that has been allowing me to get my full commission with no questions.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's that's just you selling you, at that point, you're selling yourself and selling your work. And I can tell you right now in this market, you all are worth every dime that you get. You've earned it. Trust me. This ain't the market for the faint. So hope y'all got something out of it on y'all listings, and have conversations though. I think the best advice, knowing this and going into it this way, you're still like Denise, she done everything, like it's staged, it looks good, no work needed, this and that. So that's just also a conversation and masterminding too. Pick up the phone, call me, sit down with me, let's look at it, let's look into it. Call another agent that sells a lot of listings, get their perspective. That's another thing that you guys have that you can utilize as well. Talk to each other about these situations because there's more than one way to skin a cat. All right. Thank y'all for coming today. Hope y'all got something out of it. Thank you, my mom. All right. Thank you, Juju.